The Albie Louw story is a totally uniquely South Africa Coca-Cola story. I was in the archives about a year ago, going through some documents in our export collection, which has our files about our business internationally. In one folder, I open it up, and here's this photocopy of an album cover. And I'm a big music person, I love music. The album cover actually had this Coca-Cola ad on it. And so I get really curious about this. And I look at the ad that was used on the cover, and I know that very ad we have in a poster from Holland. We also have in calendars. That ad was used all around the world. It was used in Latin America. It was used in the Middle East. We have it in the Persian language. We have it in Dutch as well. So that ad is very global. So I go back to the album cover, and I want to find out everything I can about the artist and about the album. So of course, the first place I go to search is on Google, and I do a search for Albie Louw Wonderful One. Not much comes back. So I keep searching and I keep searching. I find this record collector's website. They're right outside of Port Elizabeth, South Africa of all places. And I'm thinking this must be the last place in the world that this record actually exists. So I contact the record collector and I ask her if she actually has the album, and she does. We buy it for the Coca-Cola Archives for 50 Rand. She ships it all across seas to Atlanta, and we get it in our collection.
Wow, thousands.
We have thousands of records in our collection, varying from pop, jazz, rock, gospel, children's, and lots of classical. Every genre that you can imagine. From the old days though, not modern stuff.
Yeah, we're quite particular about South African music because we almost feel we are a minor custodian of South African music. So we categorize South African music very carefully, and that's why we have our Albie Louw albums carefully catalogued.
We sold the Albie Louw album to the Coca-Cola Archives for 50 Rand. We mailed the album overseas to the Coca-Cola Archives in Atlanta, and because we had 2 copies of the vinyl but only 1 cover, we packaged the whole lot together and sent them off.
As soon as we get it in, we put it on the scanner, so we scan it and we do a blog post about it. So we put the picture out on the internet and we basically ask the world, who is Albie Louw? So a few weeks later, we get a comment in response to our blog post, and the comment is from a man named Jacob Clarence from Sundra, South Africa, and he gives us the contact information for Albie Louw. He said Albie Louw is still in his 80s, and he's still performing, playing gigs every week. We're live here in Sundra, South Africa, at the home of Jacob Clarence, the man who put us in touch with Albie Louw. I can't wait to see how he saw our blog post. Let's go find out. Mr. Clarence?
That's right.
Jamal Booker from Coca-Cola.
Nice meeting you.
Nice to meet you.
Come inside, please.
Long-playing records, I've got about 600-700. The 45 7-inch players, I've got about 2,000. And then I've got about 100 of the old 78s. I was roaming around on the internet, Googling as we say, and for some reason or other I just typed in the name Albie Louw. Don't ask me how I decided to type in the name Albie Louw, and as it came up on the screen I saw there was one that says, who is Albie Louw? And that sort of tickled me. And I opened up the website and I saw your questions that you asked, that you said you found a photo of the cover of his album and you'd like to know who Albie Louw is. So I replied to that. Eventually you came back to me and I gave you his telephone number, his home address, a lot. I met Albie around about 1962, it was early in 1962. And then I think it was about three years ago, we met up again, as I said, with that interview on the radio again. Actually, Albie came to Pretoria. We were in the studio doing a live broadcast at the time. And from there on, I kept contact with Albie. Well, the wonderful one. This is one that many of my friends would like to have, including me, because I've got a number of friends that's record collectors, and none of them has got this specific album.
Mr. Clarence, this is a surprise to you, but the record collector actually sent us 2 records when they sent it to us. We're going to hold on to the album cover, but we're going to give you a copy of the record so you have one for your collection.
Thank you very much.
You're so welcome.
Love that. I love that.
You're so welcome. So it's unbelievable, but I reach out to call this man named Albie Louw in Cape Town, South Africa. So I call him and he answers the phone and I say, I'm Jamal Booker from Coca-Cola. And I tell him why we're looking for him, and he's just amazed that Coca-Cola is reaching out to look for him. So he tells us his story about how he got started playing music, his favorite artists, and we feature him on the blog.
I'm opening up.
Come on. Nice to meet you.
Hello, pleased to meet you.
All right, very nice to meet you. All right, this is Albie Louw. So happy to be here. We're here in Cape Town, South Africa, and now we're going to go talk.
Talk, yes.
All right.
I couldn't believe, you know, this news that this record has been all over the world, it seems to me, and that you got one and you were from Coca-Cola. So it was a talking point of the, my popular talking point nowadays. I will be 87 on my next birthday, which will be 10th of February. Every time I make a recording, a lot of numbers, I record and then they send me a copy with a sleeve. And suddenly, I was a bit upset. But that was they thought that they could get a free sleeve from Coca-Cola because Coca-Cola is advertising, or they charged Coca-Cola for the advertising. I don't know, but that was on my sleeve.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah. We got most of that? Perfect. Well,
Okay.
Thank you so much. That was fun. This story, I think, just brings to light the many great stories in the history of the brand. Not only the history of the brand, but the great history the brand has here in South Africa, which I've seen for this past week. So this is the Albie Louw story, a totally uniquely South African Coca-Cola story.
In '38, I was at school, was it? At Stellenbosch, the first year. I went standard 4. That is a great standard 4. And then this cool drink came on the market. But what we liked so much about it, it kept its fuzziness. It didn't go flat so easily. And it was fun drinking all this fuzz, you know. And of course, and then we made milkshakes out of it, or what do you call it, Coke floats and things like that. It was very popular, yeah.
Well, as a young person in South Africa in primary school, I do have memories of Coca-Cola because it was very popular at tuck shop, and most of my tuck shop money was spent on Coca-Cola because we didn't have it as a household item because of the sugar content. So my memories of Coca-Cola are getting it at school from the tuck shop.
This is a 200 milliliter bottle that a friend of mine gave to me around about 1982. The reason why I keep this is on the back is printed return for deposit, and that you don't get in anymore, because all these little dumpies are thrown away bottles.